So when the first trailer for Transformers 1 came out, I wasn't immediately put off like a lot of other people. I was actually pretty excited for it. I thought that visually it looked great. I loved that we were getting a Transformers movie taking place entirely on Cybertron without any human characters, and I also really liked the idea of exploring the friendship turned rivalry of Optimus Prime and Megatron before the war. I love the story trope of iconic characters who were once best friends but became enemies. But that being said, I didn't like the heavy focus on humor, not to mention that the jokes in the first trailer weren't even good. So although I was excited, I wasn't extremely excited. But then the second trailer came out, which focused more on the darker elements of the film and toned down the humor, and at the same time, people were coming back from early fan screenings calling this movie the greatest Transformers film ever made. And then a bunch of YouTubers started praising this movie after it came out, so I just decided to give it a watch, and it was really good. It is just as good as everyone says it is. Visually, this movie looks amazing. It really immerses you into this world. Cybertron in this looks beautiful. Everything is vibrant and full of life. The animation is also amazing, especially during the action sequences. The movement is very fluid, the action is fun, fast-paced, and actually aids in telling the story. It's not just there for the sake of it. And because of the colourful and simplistic designs of the bots, along with the great fight choreography, you can actually tell what's happening, unlike the Michael Bay action scenes, which just look like an intricate grey mess. I also liked that the characters used their transforming ability to their advantage during battle. I thought that was really creative. I also liked all the characters in this. I thought they were all very well written, and I especially loved the relationship between Orion Pax and D16. This movie does a great job at making you care about their friendship, so that it's even more tragic and heartbreaking when they finally lose that friendship and become enemies. The transformation to their respective characters was very well done. It was a very natural progression, and it didn't feel forced. I've seen a few people complaining that D16's turn felt a little rushed and wasn't as well developed as Orion's turn, but I disagree. I think both turns were done very well. D16's turn in this movie is what Anakin's turn to the dark side could have been if it was actually handled well. I've also seen a lot of people saying that there's a moment in this movie that is equal to, if not greater than, the Leap of Faith scene in Into the Spider-Verse. I assume the moment that people are talking about is the moment when Orion and D16 finally become Optimus Prime and Megatron, and after seeing the movie, I think that's an exaggeration. Like, don't get me wrong, it is a great moment, and probably the best moment in the entire movie, but the Leap of Faith scene is on a league of its own. It is a masterful scene that's going to be very hard to top. But obviously that's just my opinion. D16 is my favourite character in this movie. He's got so much depth to him, and you can understand his frustrations, even though eventually he does take things too far. And Brian Tyree Henry is so good as Megatron. He gives the best performance out of anyone in the movie. His voice sounds really friendly at the beginning, but as the movie progresses, his voice changes. It becomes deeper and more intimidating. When he's yelling, you can feel the rage coming from his voice. Chris Hemsworth also did a great job as Orion Pax. I remember when the first trailer came out, people were complaining that they didn't get Peter Cullen to voice Optimus, but those people forget that in this movie he's not Optimus yet, he's Orion Pax, a much younger, inexperienced character. Chris Hemsworth starts the movie off as regular Chris Hemsworth, just with an American accent, but as the movie progresses, his voice deepens just like Brian Tyree Henry's voice. And I have huge respect for Chris Hemsworth for not wanting to mimic Peter Cullen's voice.
Thankfully, it was never to try and impersonate or top what he'd done. I wouldn't dare.
I just think it's really respectful. It also allows him to do his own take on the character while also honouring what came before. Now, I was a little skeptical with Keegan-Michael Key and Scarlett Johansson. They just didn't sound like what I imagined Elita and Bumblebee to sound like. It felt like they were only just there for name recognition, but thankfully I was wrong. Scarlett Johansson really surprised me with her voice acting, and I got used to her voice pretty quickly. I also thought Keegan-Michael Key did a great job as Bumblebee. At first I didn't like that his character was mostly comedic, because I'm used to Bumblebee being this, like serious, badass warrior, but then I remembered that this takes place before the war, so it makes sense for him to be more childish. I just hope that he doesn't lose his voice in the sequel if there is one, because I am sick of him being mute all the time. I think it's just overdone at this point. But what I really liked about Bumblebee in this is that he is the comedy relief, but he's also not annoying. When there's a heavy moment, he doesn't swoop in with a joke, he knows when to be serious. I also thought Sentinel Prime was a great villain. He's brilliantly voiced by Jon Hamm, and a lot of people have been comparing Sentinel to Homelander, which I somehow didn't pick up on when watching this movie for the first time, but looking back, yeah, he is very similar to Homelander. He presents himself as this selfless hero when in reality he's a selfish, irredeemable psychopath. Not sure how I didn't make that connection, but anyway. We also get to see my boys, Starscream, Soundwave, and Shockwave, and Steve Buscemi as Starscream is peak casting, just perfect. Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, another perfect casting choice. The humor was also, for the most part, surprisingly funny. I thought the humor wouldn't be good based off of the jokes in the first trailer, but most of the humor was pretty solid. It's just that the trailer had all the worst jokes in the movie. It's like whoever made the trailer wanted the movie to flop. Paramount, fire your marketing team and hire TF Hype Guy instead, he'll do a much better job. And like I said before, this movie is heavy. There's a lot of dramatic and emotional moments in it. And there's also no dumb joke that breaks the tension like what Marvel does. It's honestly very refreshing to see a modern kids movie be this dark and mature. In this movie, we get to see racism and slavery. We also see characters getting stabbed, decapitated, ripped apart, like it is brutal. This movie also has so many great themes: brotherhood, friendship, family, betrayal, loss. And another great thing about this movie is the pacing. It's only an hour and 45 minutes, but they use that time so well. Scenes don't feel rushed or drag on for longer than they need to, and it also completes the story while at the same time leaving the door open for potential sequels. And oh my god, I want sequels. You guys probably know this by now, but this movie didn't do too good at the box office, so please support this movie in other ways. Stream it, buy the merch, and spread the word because I want more. 9 out of 10. Go watch Transformers 1. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And also, I keep forgetting to do this, but only X% of you are subscribed. So please subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos like this. And also, if you're a fan of animation, then be sure to check out Most Wanted. It's an original animated series that I spent 2 years working on, and a lot of people were involved with it, so please do check it out. A link to the full series will be in the description and the pinned comment. Anyways, that's all I got. See ya.